I think with this we move to the next country study, specifically Kenya. No, oh sorry, Ghana. Reverend Abdul Rahman Yakubu.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Reverend Abdul Rahman Yakubu, welcome. You have the whole thing there. He's a pastor, ordained pastor of the Bible Church of Africa, Ghana. And he study Christian-Muslim relations and is working predominantly in Muslim area. And you can hear, I'm sure, his name suggests that he has some affinity with Islam. Abdul Rahman. It will sound like a shouting in my ears. You might want to also comment on that. God bless you.
I'm a Yoruba man. I can pose as a Yoruba man.
You can pose.
But you are not. I'm not. Well, thank you. My presentation is really about the work of Mura and the Catholic Bishops' Conference. But before that, I'll just give some background and then talk about Islam in Ghana and Christianity. Now, just some facts and figures. The last census put the population of Ghana at 18 million. But now, it's estimated that the population will be about 23 million. Out of this number, 69% are Christians, 16% Muslims, and then 8% Christians. There are other religious groups which are put at 6%. Now, I'm sure after 10 years of census, these figures will change. But for now, let's just work with this. Generally, we can say that the relation between Christians and Muslims is very good. There have been some problems in the past. I remember in 1995, this thing Prof. Dublin mentioned yesterday about the preacher desecrating the Quran in public in Sunyani. And there was this big row, some problems. But the Christian Council of Ghana, together with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, came together and resolved the matter. Actually, the Ahmadis were actually also involved in resolving the matter. Now, there are also even problems between some Christian groups and African traditional religion. We know the ban on drumming, the problems we've had in the Ghana area, where every year there's supposed to be some silence, observe some silence, which is a Ghana traditional way of doing things. But this particular Christian group do not adhere to that. And I think in the past it's brought a lot of problems, but I think they've been outcry and things have changed now. Now, in terms of, well, let me start with Islam, because Islam came before Christianity. And if you look at the history of Islam in Ghana, Islam came to Ghana around the 14th century. It was brought in by the Jonas, or the Wangari, as some people call them. But that name has come to mean traders these days. And basically, they were traders who came, to sell things. And through that, they got reception with the chiefs. So first you have traders coming in, then there's some kind of adaptability of these traders, and then the chiefs accepted them, and then later they got hearing in the chief's court. And if you look at the main ethnic groups in Ghana, in the north you have the tribes that are mainly chiefly tribes, as we call them. Islam is very strong because the chiefs accepted Muslims, and because Muslims also serves as scribes to these chiefs. And so you have like the Dagombes, you have the Gonjes, you have also the Mamprisi, where Islam is very strong. Now in terms of percentages, ethnic division, it is generally believed, and I'm using my words carefully, generally believed that most Muslims are from the north, and Christians from the south. Now that is contestable. Some people will say that some of the Muslims we have are not all from the north. Some are actually immigrants. who have come into the country from Burkina Faso, from Mali and other places. But we can safely say, if you look at Ghana carefully, in terms of ethnicity, most of the Muslims will be from the north. Now, Islam had quite an impact in Ghana. And you see that in a lot of these people, the culture has been the culture is been affected. And for Dabombas, for example, I'm a Dabomba, so to be a Dabomba is to be a Muslim. That's a perception. I know that's not necessarily true, but that is the way people perceive it. If you look at Christian Islam today, we have probably three main groups of Muslims. We have the Sunni, we have the Ahmadis. It's interesting, all the presentation, I haven't heard much about the Ahmadis. But we have Ahmadis in Ghana, and they are quite strong. We also have the Shia group, which is not so prominent. But within the Sunni group, you have the Al-Sunnah wal Jamaat, but they will prefer to be, well, actually that's what they will prefer to be called. But usually we call them the Wahhabis. They don't like that. And for the sake of this paper, Wahhabi is easier to say than all these long things, so I'll just stick to the shorter one. The Wahhabis, they are really militant, they are very fundamental, and they are very strong also in the cities. But you also have the Tijaniya group, and I was just talking to my brother, and people believe they come from Senegal. Now that is something that can be investigated. But the Tijaniya group is the oldest form of Islam in Ghana. And it is also very strong in the rural areas. It's also quite strong in the zongos of the south. Zongo here means, the enclaves. You have the communities where immigrants come together and stay. And I think it's also... Is it a Hausa word? It's a Hausa word. Yes, so I don't need to explain actually.
Yorubas call them Shango.
Shango. We call them Zongo. House and Zongo. Anyway, now you find that the Tijaniya group is very strong, and they practice the veneration of the Prophet, and but Ahmadis is another group which is posing some challenges. Now, in the past, and I'm saying in the past, they used to be very, very anti-Christian, and so you find Ahmadis who use the Bible in their preaching. Actually, they just went on crusades as we Christians would do, in the past. But I think now things are changing. There's quite a good relation between the Ahmadis community and the mainline Christian church. I mean, the Christian Council of Ghana, which is made up of the Presbyterian or the Pentecostal, the Methodists, the Anglican, this mainline church. And I have to be careful to say this, that it's at the top level. Okay, the head of the Ahmadis community has good relation with the Christian Council of Ghana and then with the Catholic Bishops' Conference. And so at that level, they are able to actually work together, mainly on promotion of peace and some collaborative work. Let me try and make sure that I don't talk too much. But we also have the Shiites. Now they are very much to the background. They'll be involved mainly in education. It is believed that they are actually the first Muslim group in Ghana to set up a tertiary institution, a university. And I think it's somewhere in Accra, And so you don't see them actually going around propagating their belief, but they actually doing a lot of social work. And you also find them in Tamil, where I come from, where they have an agriculture project, and they are just targeting Muslim communities, but to reinforce, and they also go about trying to build some mosques in a lot of places. Now, if you look at Islam, there is an internal problem among Muslims in Ghana. There is no unity. You have, on the Sunni side, there have been a lot of conflicts between Sunnis and Ahmadis, where Ahmadis are not considered proper Muslim, or proper Ahmadism is not considered proper Islam. On the other hand, you also find within the Sunni community tension between the Wahhabis and the Tijaniyas, because the Wahhabis will consider the Tijaniyas not to be proper Muslims. I remember in case in 97, Yeah,